Welcome to episode 101 of Rental Rescue. My name is Pat Murphy-Racy. I live in Knoxville, Tennessee, and I've been investing in small-time real estate since about 1999. I have a total of 10 rentals at this point, all very modest, mostly 2-bedroom, 1-bath homes, but I have a couple of 3 bedrooms and 1 4-bedroom. Every once in a while, you just get screwed, and this is one of those times. I had a renter who was only in this house for 1 year, and I got it back in the worst condition I've ever seen a house returned to me before. And but here's the thing, this is how I make money, and this is my retirement, and this is just simply the cost of doing business. And so I don't whine about it. I just get back to work and I tear the house apart and fix everything that's broken and repair everything that needs mending. And this one's a doozy though, I have to admit. They had children in here that drew all over the walls. Unfortunately, they drew with pencil, they drew with markers, and they drew with the dreaded crayon, which is terrible. Crayons are the worst because it's wax, and typically it's very difficult even to get a good primer to cover wax. And so I just did a test. You can see some spots on the wall over there, some gray. I'm a Zinsser guy. Most people are Kills people, but I don't prefer Kills. I used it a long time, and then a painter switched me to Zinsser, and I've never looked back. I think it does a better job of covering, and this job here is going to really require a lot of covering. I'm afraid I'm going to have to do 2 to 3 coats of primer just to get it to be even paintable. So again, the problem is some markers and all crayons are deaf to paint, because paint is typically water-based and not oil-based. And so the worst case scenario here, I may have to come in here with either a shellac-based paint or primer or a oil-based primer. And that means the place will stink to high heaven. Now, it won't smell like cat piss anymore, which is good, but at the same time, you want somebody to move in. And I think that any kind of oil base is really tough. It's also bad for the environment. So I'm gonna try my best only to use water-based primer, but I may have to go to shellac or even oil-based, we'll see. But the carpet in here was horrific. Now, the carpet was 15 years old, so that's, it needed to be changed anyway. And every time I have a house that has carpeting in it, when I purchase it, if the carpet's in good shape, I leave it in for the first renters that come in. But once that carpet is trashed and needs to come out of the house, I remove everything. I take out the pad, I remove the tack strip, and I put in vinyl plank flooring, if it's not a hardwood floor. This house is just plywood flooring, so I'm basically gonna use vinyl plank flooring throughout. So that's gonna be expensive, but it's waterproof, and it makes it a lot easier to kind of rescue a house when you get them back like this if you have vinyl plank flooring. So if you're thinking about rental property, or you have some and you got with carpet, just whenever the carpet's done, be done with the carpet is what my motto is. What I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna kind of walk you around and show you some of the damage, which is pretty severe. It's really bad. The kitchens and the bathroom are the worst. One point that's kind of funny, the one thing renters always leave behind when they leave you high and dry and they owe you money and they trash the place, is they always leave behind furniture, clothing, tools, and cleaning supplies, because they don't need them where they're going. They sure need them here. So anyway, let's take a walk around and I'll kind of show you. I can't show you how bad it was when I first got it. I do have some still pictures that I'll put on here so you can see what it looked like with the carpet in it and how terrible it was and all the trash. And it's really sad too, because there's like children that were living here, and they obviously didn't take them to the park or do anything with them because they drew all over the walls, and they obviously didn't have anything to do and they were bored. So, but anyway, so let's take a walk around and I'll kind of show you the damage, and we'll get into it. The kitchen cabinets, these cabinets were put in brand new by me 1 year ago. They were brand new cabinets. I put in a brand new dishwasher, and you can see the drawers are missing. It's almost like somebody stood or tried to stand on the doors, so the doors are all busted up and messed up. This wall was not like this, to be honest, but you can see all the oil stains all over everything. And the problem is you can't, again, it's really hard to paint over oil. So I'm gonna have to remove the sheetrock on this wall where the stove was, and probably this wall. And what I'm gonna do in here is I'm gonna take out 4 foot across the entire, below the kitchen cabinet. So I'm gonna just zip out. It'll probably end up being around here or so. And then I can replace everything. There's holes underneath. It's really bad. Luckily the upper cabinets, for some reason they didn't really trash them. So those are gonna stay, as will the sheetrock where the cabinets are. It just helps me not do that. But yeah, they had stickers all over. We already removed all the stickers, but there were probably, I don't know, 150 stickers all over the house, everywhere. This is where we already swept this out. This is where the kitchen, the refrigerator was, just nasty. There's cockroaches everywhere. You can see they broke doors off of, the hinges and stuff. This is, damage from just a kitchen table, just basically, coming in and out and banging the table on the wall. So that's what that is. But you can see all this streaking and all this. This is all food and oil and just grimy hands, So you can see this is the door that goes in the garage, and I'll change the exposure here and you can see all the crayon and marker on it. So that's going to be a job to get that off. The worst case scenario, of course, is skim coating, which is what I'm hoping to avoid. You can see just how much marking there is in the wall. It's pretty incredible. And this is one of my test areas. This is a Zinsser, what's called 123. It's not dry yet, I just did this. So you can kind of see the green. The green stuff's probably gonna come through that, which is a bummer for me. But above everything, I'll be able to get away with murder. So I'll be able to get this done. I'll be able to take care of this pretty easily. It sucks because they even did the trim, the trim boards, all this. This is another one of my tests with the Zinsser primer. So probably in episode 2, I will run you through how that worked. Again, this is from furniture moving along, just scraping and people not being careful. But look at all this coloring, and it's just it's so depressing to see it like this. Here's the front door. This door was brand new from Home Depot a year ago, and now it's got dents on this outside. There's dents on the inside, but I'm gonna have to use probably magic eraser here and see if I can remove that. Hopefully I can. If I can't, I'll have to paint it, which adds more time and money. So let's go down the hallway, and the bathroom, my son already cleaned the floor in here. It was bad, it's still drying. The floor was in really bad shape. It was sticky to walk on. And the tub was also brand new. I'm gonna darken the exposure so you can see how dirty the tub is. It's really, really pretty terrible. But anyway, yeah. So anyway, I'm gonna show you one other area of damage where this is really common with renters. This is the shower, and then what they do is they don't close the curtain. And when you don't close the curtain, it rots everything out. It gets the sheetrock all wet, and then the studs behind it. So I'm gonna have to take out all the sheetrock behind the toilet, just from what they did there. So let's go in here. This is the small, tiny bedroom. This is where I'm sure one of the kids stayed. And you can see it's just like, there was a doorknob there, but it's missing now. And that's kind of common. Here's another test. You can kind of see it's coming through right in there, but it's probably doable. I think 2 coats, and I might get away with that here. So these are more patches, you can see. This is just, the bed was here, and that's what this dark line is. So that all the filth is just from hair oil and hands and stuff, and just, it's gross. It's just what happens. And then you can always tell by the light switches how grimy and dirty it is. Again, I'll have to do 2 or 3 coats of Zinsser before hitting with paint. And by the way, that paint is a year old. So from here to here in a year. And we already washed these walls, by the way, so we've already done that. Of course, when we got here, there was no filter in the heat and air system. And because of it, the system got really filthy, dirty, and it failed. So I had to get there was like a part that was needed to fix it, and it's now fixed and we have heat again, which is nice. This is the big master bedroom, and again, you can see pretty terrible, just filth, really sad. And more Crayon, which is great fun. But this wall is pretty good. So like, that makes me happy to see a wall like that. And this closet's okay. And then we'll go in the last bedroom here. This is kind of clever. They must have gotten a fight or something and busted up the doors. And they found a door in the garage, but it didn't fit. So they added some plywood. Pretty creative. But I guess privacy was important to them. This room, again, is not as bad as some of the others. But it's, it's really filthy, and it needs to be deep cleaned. And oh, another doorknob missing. So I'm going to have to fix that. So occasionally the kids must have got in here because there's, that's pencil. And then I don't know what that is, but anyway. So that's kind of the deal. So today, my son and I, we made a repair to the floor. They never cleaned the gutters, and when you don't clean the gutters, bad things happen. And so we had to cut out a big section of floor here where the register was and make a patch. And it took us about an hour, maybe an hour and a half to do this. I'm not a carpenter, but I can get stuff done when I need to. But tomorrow, and this is a trick I'll show you. The heating duct is down laying under the house, right? And what you don't want to do is do this where you can't get it out again. And so I took some cable from the cable TV and I put a hole in it, and I can pull it back up into the hole and then without going underneath the house. Otherwise you're stuck going underneath the house to try to do that, and it's a real pain. So there's a little tip for you. But I'm gonna cover this up because it's like 38 degrees outside and it's like 70 in here, so. Anyway, these are great, by the way. Home Depot sells these. It's a 5-gallon bucket thing, and you put it over the bucket and you can carry all kinds of tools. I mean, just tons and tons of stuff. It's like a whole truck full of stuff. I really like these. The buckets will eventually break, but I get about 5 years out of them. Okay, we're back outside the kitchen area and the sort of eating area, breakfast nook or whatever. This wall, I built this wall in 1998 because I used to use this as an office space. And so we're gonna remove this wall tomorrow. We're gonna demo this wall. We'll take the sheetrock off first. I put it all together with screws, and then we'll basically just go ahead and take all the screws out and then remove the wall. And then once I do that, it's gonna mess us up because the floor won't look right. But luckily, when this floor got laid, I kept an extra box of flooring. So we'll be able to fix this without too much trouble, as if it was never there. So this will go away, and this sconce light up there, we literally fished the wire. The original light for the kitchen is literally right above this wall. So we'll just put that back the way it was. And then, so there'll be 2 lights in this area separately switched, and the second one will be up there. So that'll be nice. It'll enlarge this area and it won't be so cramped and stuff, which I think is good. The other big project here is going to be the window replacements, and I'm going to be doing that myself. Don't know what episode that will be, but it will be in the future. But what I need to do is remove all this, like that's a stud right there. So I need to get all the sheetrock off around the entire window, and then to be able to put a new window in. So these are old original windows. They're aluminum from probably the 60s. I'm guessing maybe the 70s. So I'll have to take all this out, but I'll have to use care to not mess up the siding too badly outside. So you got to really think ahead. You don't want to mess yourself up and cause more work than you need. So isn't that nice how pretty that is? Oh yeah, that was all nicely painted gray last time. They also put a hole in the wall here so they could have Christmas lights outside. And while I appreciate the Christmas spirit, I don't appreciate it at my expense. Right over here, I'm gonna show you this one last thing. The door opens, and of course they would open it and it would break, the door would break the wall. And so I made a patch, and there was originally down at the floor, there was a stopper, a door stopper, but it's gone. Don't know what happened to it. And so I made a little patch here that I'm about to put sheetrock mud on. And then because the heat's on now, finally, I'll be able to come in tomorrow and sand, and then do one more coat of mud and sand, and that'll be ready to go. And by the way, my preference nowadays is I use these plastic sticky things that just go in the place, and that way you don't have this problem. So that's what I'll be putting on in place. I won't use the door things anymore. Well, that's it for this episode. You can see I'm gonna tilt down so you can see all the tools and all the crap you gotta have to get this all together. Painting supplies, filters, there's tools. Shop vac is essential, doing stuff like this, ladder, light bulbs, the primer, rollers, all that kind of stuff. You know, most people have all this stuff in their garage or whatever, but anyway, over the next week or so, I'm gonna be working really hard trying to get this going. The one thing that happened is because we didn't have heat in the house, I had to go to Chicago for about 5 days. And so what I did is I shut the water off at the road, and then I drained the pipes. However, the pipe still broke under the house, right under the hose bib. And so I could do that, but it's a tough job, and I'd rather pay somebody, honestly. So it's probably just a split in the, it's galvanized supply line, and so they're gonna probably cut it off and just do a copper transition. But in the process, while they're there, I'm gonna have them replace the hose bib as well, because it's been leaking for a long time, and I changed the gaskets and it still leaks. So I don't know what the deal is with that. But anyway, that's it for episode 1. We haven't looked at the exterior of the house yet at all, but the gutters are completely full. We have to get after that. There's a lot of painting that needs to be happening in the eaves, and but that probably won't happen until the spring, because it's still too cold here to really do painting outside. But anyway, in episode 2, I'm gonna actually talk to you guys about the financial aspects of this and how much money you can make as a renter, as a rental, as a landlord versus flipping. All these TV shows are they make people do stupid stuff, and the TV shows are wrong. The real long haul money is over a great amount of time. I'll get into all the details, but I bought this house in I think it was 98 or 99, and I paid $100,000 for it. Now, at the time, a house this size wasn't really worth that much in Knoxville, but it's zoned commercial. And so there's big money here eventually. There's an empty lot next to me that's got 4 acres. I have 1.25 acres. And I'm gonna get into the sort of, when you buy real estate, you're buying futures. You're banking on the fact that it's gonna be worth more money than when you paid for it. And so if you go on Zillow right now, this house is kind of, the comps are showing this house to be worth about $155,000 or $160,000, but it doesn't take into account that it's commercially zoned property. And I have 0 setbacks as well, because I have a very narrow lot. So there's 1.25 acres here. It's worth a lot of money. And I think in real money, I think this place is probably worth $250,000, probably $250,000. And so from 99 to now, that's a pretty good rate. But anyway, I'll get into the actual details of when I first bought it, what I was able to rent it for, and I'll show you over time why it makes more sense to do rental property than it does to flip. Because flip, you get hammered by the government with capital gains. It's not a very good deal, and you don't have, it doesn't add to your income. It just adds to your income where you get a speeding ticket of capital gains. But I'll talk about that more in episode 2. So if you're still watching, thanks, man. Holy crap, this is a long video. I didn't mean for it to be this long, but I'm PMR, Rental Rescue, baby. That's what we're doing here. Have a good one.